One of the first surprises of the draft was when the Raiders decided to select Clelin Ferrell, and I think I'm pronouncing that name correctly, although correct me if I'm wrong, because I am hard of hearing, and those names can be kind of tricky for me, so if I'm wrong, I apologize, but anyways, that's what I'll be calling him for the video. I think many thought that Josh Allen was going to be picked there at 4, so when they selected Ferrell, it was definitely a little bit of a head scratcher. There have been reports that maybe they were trying to trade back, and I don't know if that's true or not, so I won't really speculate on that too much, but the fact of the matter is, I do still really like Ferrell. I mean, I was expecting him to sort of be a mid-first rounder, but the fact of the matter is, there was no way he was going to fall to 24, so if they really liked him, they decided to pick him up the 4th overall pick. It's not the move I would have made personally. I would have personally picked up Josh Allen, but I think Ferrell is really good, and he could end up being better for the Raiders, who knows. But anyways, one of the things that I really love about Ferrell is his strength. I mean, this is just a very strong guy. He's easily stronger than Josh Allen, which is probably why the Raiders decided to pick him up. And again, not saying Josh Allen isn't strong, but he's definitely more of a speed guy. But anyways, if you look at this play, he's going up right there, and there's going to be a guard blocking him one-on-one. So his plan is simple. While you don't have a ton of space when you're going up against a guard, typically you want to run like right there and try to get around the guard. At least in terms of when you're rushing the passer, and since this is going to be a passing play, that's what Ferrell is going to try to do. This is almost like a situation you see very often with an edge rusher and a tackle, where basically the guard at this point is just going to try to push Ferrell back. You push him past the quarterback, and now that does two things. One, it gives up containment and gives your quarterback a lane to run, and also it just gives your quarterback more time to make a throw. It's a great thing if you can pull it off, especially if you trust your quarterback to be able to step up in the pocket. But watch what Ferrell is going to do here. I mean, he basically just stops at full speed. I know many people would probably put this in the footwork category, but in my opinion, this is strength on this one. I mean, if you see his leg, he's stopping all of his body weight in just one instance. You can tell he's the type of guy that doesn't skip leg day too often, because that's just incredible strength on that one. When the guard keeps going, he's able to easily run back and get into the play and get a sack, and it's really just a great play by him. This next one's going to be kind of a similar concept because he's actually going to be an edge rusher, and he's actually going up against a tight end here. The reason for this is because it's 4th down and 22, and it's desperation time for his opposing offense. So basically, as of right now, they're going to try to get the tight end to push Ferrell out of the way, and then hopefully their quarterback can then run up to the bottom half of the screen and have plenty of room to make a throw. On a 4th down and 22 play, it is kind of desperation mode, and you need to figure out some sort of way to allow your quarterback to have more time, and that's the way they're going to decide to try to let him have it. So unlike that last play, when it basically just turned into the type of play that guard was going to try to implement, this play was actually designed to try to get Ferrell out of the way, but look at what's going to end up happening. He's once again able to stop on a dime, reach over, and get to the quarterback for a game-winning sack. It wasn't an official game-winning sack, but it might as well have been. He can also be effective in the running game. Like on a play like this, it's going to be a run to the top half of the screen, and he's once again going to be going up against a tight end on this play. The reason for him going up against a tight end is relatively simple. Because it is going to be a run to the top half of the screen, it should be an easy block for a tight end to make. Naturally, an edge rusher is going to kind of run in that direction, especially on a 3rd and 30 where it definitely could be a pass. And so if you're a tight end, basically all you have to do is focus and make sure that he doesn't get to the inside of you. Just make sure that you block him like that. If he gets around you, well then who cares, because that's basically running away from the play, so that's actually a good thing if you're a tight end. So it should be a pretty easy block to make. But notice how far Ferrell was going to push him backwards. I mean, he pushes him back so far. He's basically just able to run through him and then get to the halfback. This really just shows how strong of a guy he is. And that also helps in a lot of ways because he can play on the inside or on the outside, which definitely adds some versatility for the Oakland Raiders. This one's another interesting one. It's going to be a run right there to the middle of the screen, and there's going to be a left tackle who's going to be blocking him. And honestly, if I'm the quarterback here, I'm going to audible into some kind of a passing play. I know it's 4th down and 1, so you just need the 1 yard, but if you look at the top half of the screen, there's going to be 3 receivers and 3 defensive backs. Other than that, literally every single Clemson player is right there in the box trying to stop a run, which means that Clemson actually has a numbers advantage here. Unless it's going to be a quarterback run, which it isn't on this play, this now means that Clemson has an extra player. But anyways, look at what happens with Ferrell right here. Right off the bat, he's not getting blocked too well at all. He's easily able to absorb that hit, and he has plenty of space to try to make something happen. Granted, this actually looked like it was going to be a run to the A or B gap, but because of the way things broke down, and because the fact that Clemson had an extra player essentially, it made it much more difficult to try to get through that gap. So Wake Forest's halfback is going to do something different, and he's basically going to try to run straight into that Clemson Tiger right there. His thought is, hey, it's okay if I get tackled, but I need a yard, so let me see if I can just power through this guy. I'll still get tackled, but I'll pick up the yard and pick up the 1st down. And honestly, it might have worked, but Ferrell does a great job of reaching over with his arm and making it basically 2-on-1 instead of 1-on-1. Without that, there would have been a very good chance of Wake Forest picking up the 1st down, but it was a great play by Ferrell. There's also this play. It's designed to be a run to the bottom half of the screen, and it's actually going to be kind of a unique block here. Because it's going to be a run to the bottom half of the screen, this now means that the guard is going to simply just run over in that direction and try to make a block. Basically, the reason you run down is try to create that better angle to then push the guy farther up, because it is a run to the bottom half of the screen, and your whole goal in a block is to try to get the guy away from your halfback. The one problem you're going to see is that while the guard takes a couple of steps down, Ferrell doesn't. He's basically going to be running straight through, which seems sounds like it could be a bad idea because you are kind of taking yourself out of the play, right? And I mean, the answer is yes, kind of. Basically, you have to be fast enough if you are going to do this to run over and try to get into the play. If you can't get there quick enough, then you certainly have taken yourself out of the play, but Ferrell can get there quick enough. Speaking of plays that he's not expected to get into the play, this one will be another good example of that. This time he's going to be on the edge right over there, and it's going to be a run to the top half of the screen. This play should be pretty simple, and in fact, Ferrell shouldn't have much to do here, and in fact, NC State isn't even going to bother blocking him on this one. It's a tactic you'll see fairly often. When it is going to be a run to one side of the field, then you won't block the edge rusher on the opposite side of the field. This allows you to send that left tackle into situations up to block someone else, and it essentially gives you an extra blocker. But the only problem is Ferrell can do something like this. He runs in instantly, quickly gets to the halfback, and basically just denies that play right there. I mean, while Josh Allen certainly has speed, Ferrell definitely does as well. I mean, this guy definitely is a quick guy. So we know that Ferrell is now very strong and very fast, but let's not talk about how Clemson was able to use his quickness to their advantage. Like on this play, it's going to be a pretty simple concept, but it is an interesting one. First, they're going to have their edge rusher run right there, which is pretty typical for an edge rusher, but what it's going to do is cause a tackle to have to move out in that direction. Then they'll send an interior lineman in that direction, which again, this now forces the guard to run down to the bottom half of the screen. You can probably guess where this play is going at this point, but I'll still explain the rest. Then Clemson is going to send another defensive player to run straight into that center, which again forces the center to have to run in that direction. So after doing all this, now you can simply send Ferrell over, and there should be a huge gap in that direction. Of course, Ferrell has more room he has to run through now, but since he is quick, he should be able to make up for that extra time it takes him to run through that gap. And that's going to be exactly what he does, as he's able to easily move over and get to the Louisville quarterback for a sack. Again, the fact that they run this play concept isn't too surprising. I'm sure Oakland will run this play concept as well when he's with them. But it goes to show that he can be effective as that guy who's in charge of getting through that gap, which is a very important role. I mean, as we saw with D4 when he was in Kansas City, if you have a quick guy who can do that, it can really open things up. Watch, Clemson's going to do the same thing on this play, but with a little slight twist. They'll have that player run straight there, which is going to try to get the guard to run to the top half of the screen, and then it'll simply send Ferrell around to the inside to try to get through. The one problem for this play for Clemson is going to actually be that center right there. The idea is that he's going to actually go to the bottom half of the screen and block one of the Clemson Tigers who's going in that direction. However, that's not going to work out too well. As you see right now, he does a very good job of staying back and being ready to make a block, so now he can make a block on Ferrell, who's now cutting around. So that part of the play on the top half of the screen did work. It was just great awareness from that Boston College center to realize what was going on and get in position to try to make a block. But now it's actually kind of interesting because it is a one-on-one matchup, and Ferrell kind of has a running start. One thing to notice right at the bat is look at how low he is. I mean, he's basically at waist level right now. What the center is going to do at this point is basically try to put his right arm right there on Ferrell's left side of his body and try to push him to the top half of the screen. But that's going to be really tough to pull off because of how fast Ferrell was running in and because of how strong Ferrell is. Ferrell does go down, but he gets a hand on the quarterback and creates a sack out of it. He's really tough to push out of the way, and he has that explosive quickness, and this play will actually show both. He's going to be going up against the left tackle, and he's going to try to run around that left tackle. So as of right now, the play seems pretty simple if you're a tackle. You push him in that direction. That's the whole goal of a play like this for a tackle. Doing this would give up containment and give your quarterback plenty of time to make a throw, so that's what they're going to try to do here. And now as you see, Ferrell was able to easily run over and get a hand on a Duke quarterback. However, he is not actually going to be able to make a sack right here. Part of that is because Daniel Jones is very good at eluding pressure, as I mentioned in my Daniel Jones video. And part of that is just because that's a tough tackle for a guy to make. I mean, he basically just has to tackle Jones with one arm, which is not easy to do. But this doesn't mean that Ferrell made a bad play. I mean, for one, he was still able to disrupt Jones and make things a lot more difficult for him. Another thing is because the play's not over yet. Even though he's pretty far away and he's already kind of falling down, look at what he's going to be able to do here. He rushes over, and even after Jones avoids another tackle, he's able to get in and make the play. It definitely wasn't exactly the way it was drawn up. However, if you keep fighting, good things will happen, and Ferrell definitely did not quit on that play, and he doesn't quit on any play, really. There's one last play I want to talk about, and it's going to go as follows. There's going to be 3 1-1 blocks right there, and then what Pitt's going to do is have their tight end go out to block that linebacker right over there, and they're going to pull their right guard over to block the linebacker right over there. Now this one actually isn't going to be a straight up run, and it's actually going to be an option play where the quarterback can hand it off to the halfback or run it himself. So this basically means that for Ferrell, if he runs to the halfback, then the quarterback should take it himself, or if Ferrell stays to the outside, then he should hand it off to the halfback and let him run up to the top half of the screen. But the problem with that is there's going to be another Clemson linebacker who's going to do a very good job of reading this play and running in very quickly. So obviously that part isn't necessarily a great play by Ferrell, it's more just a great play by that linebacker, but as of right now, they're both doing exactly what you want to do here. The linebacker's taking the outside, and Ferrell's taking the halfback. Both know their role on this one. The linebacker's preparing for a run to the bottom half of the screen, and Ferrell's preparing for a run straight up the middle. Because of this, no matter what Pitt does, it's not going to end up well, and Ferrell's able to get a sack out of it. I showed that play because I want to show that while he can obviously be a game changer and make plays on his own, he can also be a great team player. Is he going to end up being as good as Josh Allen and be a worthy 4th overall pick? Well, we don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. But is he going to be a good player in this league? I have absolutely no doubt about it.